Welcome to Bucket Talk, your daily mailbag for all things Dallas Mavericks and Dallas Cowboys. I'm your host, Ahan Jain. I'm joined by my co-host.
Hi, I'm Nirvana.
All right, Nirvan. So, today I want to talk to you about, did you watch the All-Star game?
No, I did not.
Did you not see Kyrie's performance?
I did not, actually. How did he play?
He had a couple plays where it was like, that's Kyrie Irving, you know? A couple plays, one play he had a self-lob, and he dunked it. And then one play he made Wemby look silly. He was just like, that guy's really on our team. And we have something to look forward to, even if we don't have Luka.
Yeah, I don't know. For me, I've just kind of stopped watching the All-Star games because, it's just not that serious, right?
Yeah, I agree. They need to do something. Adam Silver's, trying to make it more popular, but everything he does, you feel like it just gets worse, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Every year, I feel like it's just slipped off.
Yeah, I remember we said this in an earlier episode. I feel like there needs to be some incentive for players to start trying more, playing more defense. I just don't. I just don't think it's that. I used to watch when I was younger, but I don't think it's that entertaining.
Yeah, I don't like this new format at all either, because I'm pretty sure Draymond said it in his whenever he was talking with Kenny and stuff. It takes away all you work to be an all-star. You become an all-star and you play 5 minutes at the all-star game.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like that. I think they should just go back to classic and the MLB does. I know NBA obviously can't do this because seeding doesn't matter then, but MLB is whichever side wins gets home court advantage in the playoffs. They need to find something that makes it important. I don't know what it's gonna be, but they need to find something.
I feel like a lot of the concern is definitely injuries.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just feel like if they tried just a little bit more, it'd just be a lot more entertaining.
Yeah. One thing that was entertaining though was the dunk contest, which has usually been a snooze fest recently.
Yeah.
And Mac McClung put on a crazy show. Did you see his between the leg, the card?
Yeah,
dunk?
And I've seen his last dunk. And you know what's actually crazy? I don't know if you know this or other people know this, but he actually makes more in dunk contests than he does in the actual NBA.
Yeah.
Because he's really a G League player, and he's very talented, but, I think he is a G League caliber player because he's, first of all, a small guard, right?
Yeah,
and
tiny.
He's super athletic, but I don't think he has the handles. And then he's not really, exceptional at one thing.
I feel like at his height, you have to be a really good ball handler, and he's just not that. I feel like he'd be better as a shooting guard, but you can't really play shooting guard whenever you're that small.
Yeah, and I don't know if he's a great shooter, and maybe he's a defensive liability, but he's definitely super fun to watch in dunk contests.
Mm-hmm. But also, I feel like John Morant tweeted something, so I think it might be picking up in the next couple of years.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah,
John Morant and Giannis.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we're finally starting to get those stars back. 2016, I was just I was watching the All-Star game, and then I put on the dunk contest, and I see Aaron Gordon and Zach LaVine going crazy on each other.
That was the best dunk contest I've witnessed.
Ever, yeah. It was crazy. So we just need something like that again to make people excited about All-Star Weekend. People just go into All-Star Weekend, and players do this too now. Players used to be excited, but now players just think of it as a break. It's not work to them anymore, which is a problem in my opinion.
And I feel like a lot of it is because I feel like sometimes the judges have been biased, right? And that made a lot of good dunkers just not want to participate. Aaron Gordon.
Aaron Gordon quit.
He's super salty that he didn't win that year.
I feel honestly, I feel like he should have won the first one in 2016.
Mm-hmm,
but I feel the Derrick Jones one, I feel like Derrick Jones won it well. He went crazy in that contest. Even though Gordon did do very well, I think Derrick Jones, former Mav, I feel like he had the hops to win that one.
Yeah.
So there's been one bright spot from the trade, and that's the man, Max Christie. And some people are starting to call it the Max Christie trade, even though that's not true whatsoever. It's the Luka Dončić trade. But Max Christie's been playing out of his mind. He has more points, rebounds, and assists than Luka and AD combined. Granted, he's played every game. Luka and AD have played 3 combined. But he has been playing really well. In his whole career on the Lakers, he had 7 games of 15 points with about 130 games played. And on the Mavericks, he's had 6 games played, and all 6 of his games have been in double figures and 15 points plus. So I think he's a key to this team in the future. And I feel like in the upcoming games, he's really important, especially without any of our players. The Mavericks literally have more players injured than active. Without any of our players, I think he's a huge key to our success. What do you think?
I completely agree with you. I feel like initially in the bogus trade, we kind of had him land as a role player or like a good role player, but I feel like he's definitely proven all of us wrong. And we kind of knew that he's a good rising star. He has talent. And, I think with the injuries being out there, or with the amount of people being injured, it's kind of helped him to, show his potential and show what he can do. Because he's kind of stepped up in that role, and he's just been balling out.
Yeah, and you think of Max Christie as a defender and a spot-up shooter. He has been so much more than that in these 6 games. He's been bringing the ball up the court, initiating offense, getting his own shot. Like, he's still picking up. He's playing 38 minutes a game. He's picking up the other team's best player full court after going coast to coast. Like, his energy is just something to root for, and it's been really positive sign and something to look forward to without my favorite player on the team anymore. And it's just been really refreshing for me to see someone actually try in a Mavericks uniform.
Yeah, and I feel like when we get everyone back, even though he's not going to be called for as much, I think we're going to use him immensely because I think, what he's shown us is like he has the talent much further than a role player. I think he can be one of our rising stars in the future for sure.
I think, honestly, the situation right now for him is really good. And I feel like in the future, once these older guys start to regress, like, I think he'll take the spot of a Klay Thompson maybe next year. I think Klay is an amazing player, but I feel like imagine him by himself in the bench unit where he can just go get a bucket anytime he wants. Yeah. I feel like that's going to be his role next year. Because this year, like, okay, fine, he needs others to initiate for him. But I feel like once he truly accepts the role of, like, hey, I'm just going to be that guy who gets buckets off the bench, that's when this team will unlock their full potential. And I know the reason he came to Dallas is because he was going to start. But I feel like if he thinks it'll win us a championship and he buys in fully, I think that's what he's going to do. I think he's going to even ask to move to the bench with that in mind.
For sure.
And Christie kind of reminds me a little bit about Klay because I feel like Christie's closer to the defender Klay used to be, that prototypical 3-and-D guy.
And I feel like on offense, Christie's kind of game extends more than Klay's game for sure. Like I feel like ball handler, and he can get to the rim really well. Klay, I feel like he's amazing, but he's kind of just, I think, solely a shooter, right? Yeah. He's just a spot-up guy.
Recently, he's been getting to the rack more, which has been really surprising me. But, like, I completely agree. Like, I think now he realizes that, like, without all these guys, like, people are just going to be pressing up on him, so he just goes pump fake and goes straight to the bucket.
Yeah.
So I think it's been working out. And so we mentioned this injury crisis. What we didn't mention is we don't have a single big who has played. Like, we don't have a single big on the roster right now that has played actual NBA minutes. So now we're having to resort to guys that called up from the G League, and we're still not playing.
G League, yeah.
Our tallest player in the lineup the other day was 6'8" Omex Prosper at big, guarding 7'3" Quinton Post, and we managed to escape with that game. But I don't know. I feel like that's going to be a big problem in the future. What do you think?
Yeah, I think right now in this particular part of the season, it's going to be very rough patch to try and win these games out because we're lacking so much players in terms of even we're lacking so much size, but also a lot of our key players like PJ Washington. Yeah, he's right. And so we definitely don't have the full team. And then the guy we've traded for is hurt. So I'm saying we're lacking so much. Gafford is out. It's going to be really tough right now. I think we make playoffs, but it's going to be really tough. So I think my prediction is we might not even make it past the first round of the playoffs because I think with the injuries we have, when everyone gets back, we'll be solid, but there's just the chemistry has to rebuild. The team hasn't played like this before. We've not had these type of guys. I think things have to gel, right?
I can 100% see that because even that first game with Anthony Davis was awesome, but there is going to be some growing pains, and every game is not going to be like that.
Exactly.
And I do think once he does come back. And I feel like if everyone comes back at like a reasonable time, like if there's 10 games left to play, I feel like they can make it work. But like, Lively is going to come back when we enter the postseason. Gafford will probably come back with 5 games left. Davis will probably come back with 10. So it leaves you in a spot where it's like your best player, arguably your best player, is playing 10 games with a completely new team, completely new fit, who's having to change their identity because they don't have any bigs. Once PJ Washington comes back after All-Star break, he'll be our big man at 6'8".
Yeah.
So it's like we're going to have to change our identity for about 10 games, and we're going to have to change back. So there's going to be no continuity in this team whatsoever.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it's going to be super tough, you know. Like, I think for this season, like, us as Mavs fans can't ask for a lot, right? Because, I mean, we're obviously still hurt from the Luka trade, but now with this team, right? I mean, this is kind of a completely different team. But even though we have a lot of the same players, I feel like this is just the team dynamic has changed completely. And so asking for these group of guys to like just gel completely together and build that chemistry and, you know, just dominate, I think it's going to be super tough, especially since we have so much injuries out there and like these guys haven't played much together.
And you can't even blame the players. It's all management because
I agree.
These players who don't see rotation minutes, like Omex Prosper, who will probably see the rotation normally next year, but he's not expected to play this year. Kessler Edwards, literally an end of the bench guy, probably your worst player. No disrespect to Kessler Edwards. Probably your worst player on the Mavericks right now, playing 35 minutes a game. So like you gotta appreciate these guys playing their heart out, but it's like there's just a lack of talent at this point in the season for the Mavericks, and you can't expect them to win like that.
And even Kyle O'Kelly, who we also brought up from the G League, his name would not have been called either if we, you know, had all of our bigs up.
And that was before the Gafford injury. I think they might even bring up Sharp now. Yeah, I think Sharp is better than Kelly just because of his 7'5" frame, but like, I don't know if you trust him to play like 25 minutes.
But honestly, though, Kyle O'Kelly he's been playing pretty solid for for a G League player. I mean, he had shown some sparks, but he's not Gafford, he's not Lively, definitely not.
Also, there's no Dwight Powell.
Yeah,
Dwight Powell is your 14th man on the bench, and you're wishing you had him right now. So it's like hysterical how injured we are right now.
Yeah.
Some positive signs though. PJ Washington's coming back first game after the break. Caleb Martin, who we traded Grimes for, is coming back 1 week after the break. So there is some things to look forward to. Yeah. But right now it's a lot of negativity. I'm going to be honest with you.
Yeah. Yeah, right now it's looking super rough. I mean, I think as Mavs fans right now, it's going to be a little tough to watch these Mavericks because we're missing so much key players. And I don't know. It's just an awkward season, right? We're still missing Luka, and I don't know, man. It's weird.
Yeah, but they have won 4 out of the last 5 surprisingly without Luka, and they beat teams like the Celtics, Rockets, Warriors, and Heat. So they have been surprising me, but I don't think it's sustainable, and I think on the 25th. Once we go down to crypto and play Luka, that's when the downfall really happens. Because I think we're gonna get.
And I feel like with this team right now, especially with the injuries we're fairly inconsistent. And I feel like that's kind of like just the Mavs history, until like we play really good in the stretch of the season. But we're fairly inconsistent, right? We have a good stretch, and then we just lose a lot of games that we should win. I think, like you were saying, I mean, our next 10 games, other than the Lakers games, they should be. I think we should win at least 7 out of the 10 games. I mean, the Lakers, that's going to be a game to watch. That's going to be very interesting.
Just because it's a revenge game, and I feel like that's where the slippery slope starts, because, I don't know. It's like a bunch
Do you know if that game is home or away?
It's an away game. So
it's an away game.
I feel like the home game will be a lot more hostile, for sure.
Yeah.
And that'll happen later in the season. That'll happen on April 9th. So Davis will play in that game. Theoretically. We'll see on that. All right, man.
All right, it was good talking to you, man.
All right.
We'll see y'all.
And that's a wrap for today's NBA episode. Please make sure you leave a like and subscribe to our channel. And as always, we'll see you guys in the next video.